It's now time for the Business Report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to share with you in the Business Report today, as it relates to the redevelopment plans for Port Royal, which today witnessed the commissioning ceremony for the Port Royal Pipeline Replacement Project, designed to provide the historic location with potable water. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who delivered the keynote address, outlined the strategy behind the development of what was once known as the richest and wickedest city in the world into a world-class destination.
You're going to see more hotels come. You're going to see the restaurants improve, and we are going to make the investments, not to displace the people who are here, who have built an industry, a name and a brand, but to support them further in improving and expanding their product, so that when we talk about Port Royal as a destination now, this is going to be the place where people will choose to come and have their festivals and concerts, where cruise ships will come to explore the rich history that is here in your various museums. Even cemeteries are a place where people come to visit. We have such wealth of historical sites that we can develop. So Port Royal is going to become a new economic hub for Kingston. It will add to our GDP, it will create revenues which will more than pay back for the over $2 billion worth of investment that we have made when you add up everything together. And it will last us, it will give us a 20, 30, 40-year run of revenues from which we now can use to give water to people in other areas of Jamaica. So that is the strategy of the government. And no one can say that the investment in Port Royal will not yield results for the country.
While that is likely the case, there are questions being raised regarding the rate at which it's likely to take place, as Robert Stevens, a director of the Port Royal Development Company Limited, which is currently in court with the government regarding a breakdown in a PPP arrangement for Port Royal's development, describes a scenario that could see the complete development of the space in a matter of years.
We came up with a plan, which was an all-inclusive plan where we would develop the town of Port Royal, including all the infrastructure, the houses, the facilities that were in the town, and then add to it. We would add attractions, we would add restaurants, we would add various things that you could, shops, etc. And the idea was that we were going to do a comprehensive development of Port Royal, including a sunken city museum. The fact is that what has happened is that the government has taken over the project, ignored the joint venture that we had, and decided to do it on their own, but they're doing it piecemeal. The driver has got to be a private-public partnership, because the amount of money that is required, government cannot find that money to come up with to do the project one time. What they would have to do is stretch it out over 20 years, which is exactly what is happening now. We need to view Port Royal as the beginning of the development of the historical triangle of Port Royal, downtown Kingston, and Spanish Town. And in order to really bring that to life, you have to link all three with a ferry service. And the ferry service was to link downtown Kingston with Portmore, with Port Royal. And the idea was you could move around the harbour freely and visit all the attractions that you have, not just in Port Royal, but downtown Kingston as well as in Portmore area, you know. You could go to the beach, for instance, over by Helsha. So the whole idea of developing just a cruise ship pier, and now you're putting in a pipeline to go to Port Royal to give them fresh water, is, as I said, doing it piecemeal.
Stevens estimates the total cost of completion at between $300 to $400 million US, with a timeline of between 2 to 3 years if allowed to execute on the vision.
Reality is this, you know, that Port Royal was declared a historical site and is applying now for World Heritage Site status. But what needs to be done is when you present that plan, you have to present a comprehensive plan of development as well as management of the area. And as far as I'm aware, that has not been done.
The Port Royal Development Company director suggests that greater attention must be paid to encouraging the capacities of local tourism entrepreneurs, or risk losing out on the best aspects of Jamaica's public-private partnership framework.
It's not just 1,000-room hotels and foreign investors that we must try to attract. We must develop our homegrown investors and attract them to get involved in boutique-type tourism. And when I say boutique type, I mean boutique hotels, boutique attractions, with things that can be managed by Jamaican investors rather than just talking or shouting out about the 1,000-room investors. We really need to re-examine our whole approach to tourism and begin to look at it in a more holistic way and recognize that our main players that we need to be talking to and assisting and developing are Jamaican players or Jamaicans from the diaspora.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.